How's it going, everybody? So this is going to be a little bit different of a video. We're actually doing an idea pitch for Summoner's War. We're going to throw forth some ideas that I think could potentially improve the gameplay of Summoner's War. And what I want you guys to do at the end of this video is to leave a comment down below if you guys have any ideas at the end of this video, or potentially improvements that you have on some of my ideas, so that maybe we can throw this to CompTOS and they can get some ideas for the game. So the first idea that I have is different monster types and attributes. I would like to see different types of monsters, like maybe magicians or more stun and crowd control skills, to make the game a little bit more technical and more thought out rather than just doing as much damage as possible or as much speed as possible. I would also like to see some improvement to sleep and freeze. Right now they're pretty much the same as stun, although sleep is actually worse because if you touch the monster while they're asleep, they'll actually wake up and they'll be back to normal. Maybe they can add different effects to them. So maybe for sleep they could add reduced stats while they're asleep, so you could do more damage, or maybe even an increased accuracy while they're asleep. For freeze, I would like to see something where it maybe decreases their speed automatically while they're frozen, or maybe they can't Vio proc out of it while they're frozen. This would also make teams a little bit more interesting, and lineups would actually be more thought out, and some skills would actually be even improved, such as the water dragon, or maybe even the water sylph. The next thing I would like to see are new attributes. Maybe we can add new attributes to the game. The three main attributes are getting pretty boring, and it's pretty hard to get light and dark monsters, so maybe they could add stuff like lightning based monsters, or earth based, or ice based, or even poison based. Now of course, each of these different attributes would have their own special skill sets, and they would have to figure out some way to implement it into the original three so that there's still attribute advantage and disadvantage. But I don't think this would be too difficult to add into the game, and it would actually make things a lot more interesting, and it would be easier for them to add new monsters. I would also like to see new skills and debuffs, so more healers, more healing skills, buffs for increasing violent procs, or skills for landing buffs for increased accuracy, or even a buff for increased crit damage. I also think they should make a new game meta or monster reworking of all of the previous monsters, such as the 3 stars and 4 stars that currently have no use. Personally, I think every monster should have some type of use, whether it be in certain dungeons or in PvP content. I think they should also make the attribute types match the actual skill sets, so monsters such as JoJo could possibly have their bombs scale with defense. I think that their skills should match their stats, and it would be really nice if they improved the skill sets for some of the 3-star monsters so that we could get new team build-ups and a more variety of skills in arena and PvE content. This could actually make new content and new gameplay. One comparison of this could be when they changed Mara, the Dark Amazon, to block revive. If they could do this with different monsters of 3-star attribute, I think this would make things a lot easier for players to be creative in their builds. I think they should make less RNG based content, so I think they should have set prices on rune power-ups rather than having it based on some RNG system where it's a % chance of upgrading. I think there should be a max amount of violent procs. I don't think it's fair that a monster could proc 6 or 7 times, especially when they're on defense. It seems like they have an increased amount of violent chance. Now the reason for this is not necessarily because it's completely unfair, but rather because it's making a lot of players mad, and it's actually causing a lot of players to quit the game. I think right now as it is, Summoner's War is mainly based on luck. You have luck on powering up your runes, you have luck on summoning your monsters, you have luck in shop, you have luck in drops, and you even have luck when you're fighting because of violent runes. I think this makes a lot of players angry because even if they have the best runes and the best monsters, you could still lose a fight, mainly because the gods of RNG are not on your side. So maybe if they added a max amount of violent chance, then this would make players less angry and more likely to face an arena. Now, an easy way to counter this and make it balanced for defense, since the AI is, well, let's admit it, pretty awful, it would be cool if they added a type of skill preference settings for the monsters, so we could go into our monsters and set a preference on our skills. So let's look at Bernard, for example. We could set a preference on his 3rd skill, so whenever it comes up, he will use the skill. Now, of course, there would be exceptions for healers where we would want it to be based on their AI. We don't want healers to heal when we have full health. We want them to heal when we're about to die. But for monsters that buff your team, or maybe for nukers that attack on defense break, it would be cool if we could program a kind of preference on the skills they use, so we don't have a monster not using their skill just because the AI decides. Now, of course, there are some things in the game that have to be RNG based, so the exceptions are summons, drops from the dungeons, and of course violent procs. I also think that they should have a better accuracy to resistance scaling Right now, you could have a monster with 100% accuracy get resisted on a monster with 15% resistance, and it's actually kind of bullshit, especially with monsters like Belladon, who miss the defense break really often. I also think it'd be really cool if they added some kind of boost or power up for monsters with 100% of any type of skill. So a monster with 100% of resistance might get a boost in defense or a boost in HP, or maybe a monster with 100% crit will get a boost in attack power. Now, of course, this is just some idea to add to the PvP content, so maybe if we added a little bit more control to the player for the skills, I think this would add a lot more into the game and actually make players a little bit more comfortable with their defenses. Now, my next idea is a new shop. Right now, the current shop only adds scrolls, low-level monsters, and some shitty runes, sometimes good runes. I think if they added a new shop, they should have different options rather than the current shop. So I think they should have some kind of trading system for unknown scrolls, where you could trade it in for mana or even other mystical scrolls. So of course, the ratio would have to be pretty high. I'm sitting at about 7,000 to 8,000 unknown scrolls on my main account because they're completely useless to me and I absolutely never use them. It would be cool if we had some kind of way to trade that in for something that we would use. I think it'd be cool if they actually added a new scroll type as well, like a blank type scroll, and that when you fed it essences, that it turns into that scroll. Now, of course, this would be kind of a rare drop because this could be easily manipulated and abused by the higher level players, but it would be cool if we had a certain amount of blank scrolls, and if we fed it high essences of some certain attribute, it would feed us that scroll back. Now, I don't know how this would work with light and dark scrolls. Maybe it'd be more expensive if we wanted to use light and dark essence, or maybe we wouldn't be able to use it at all, but I think scroll crafting would be a very cool addition to the game. I also think that they should have a weekly shop option for pro items at a very expensive price. That of course would scale with your level. Now these would change every week. Some examples of the items that could be in this weekly shops could be like different runes or maybe even a legendary scroll. Now the prices for these would have to be pretty high, but I think it would be something that we could all work towards, and it would be something that would be pretty rewarding in the end. Now, stepping away from PvP content, I think they should add more levels, challenges, and achievements. Right now, the max level is 40. I think it'd be cool if they maxed it out at 50 or even 60. It would give us higher levels and incentive to start leveling up and doing our challenges and achievements. It'd be cool if we got new challenges and new achievements that would actually give us really good rewarding prices, like 100 crystals, 150 crystals. I think it would also be pretty cool if they added random weekly challenges, and you could pick between one of the weekly challenges, and they're all pretty tough, but they would give you a different reward, and you could only complete one of them, but the reward would be really nice. I think this could add a different style of gameplay and maybe even a new way to get things that you need. Now, one of the main things that I've been hearing a lot from players, not just myself, is 1v1 challenging against friends. Now, of course, this would be separate from Arena because you might come across boosting. This would be completely separate, and this would be just between you and your friend. I think it'd be cool if you could challenge your friend or other players in Arena via chat dialogue. You could click on their name and maybe request to fight them, and then they would go into their friends list and accept the invite. I think it'd also be pretty cool if you could place bets, such as like mana or scrolls, on the fight, so you could both technically throw a couple mystical scrolls into the bet and then the winner would take it all. I think this would add a lot of nice gameplay into the game and even a new area of PvP content. One thing I think they should add to PvP content would be spectating or maybe replaying battles for Guild War and Arena. I think it'd be very useful, especially on defense, when you want to see if your defense is good or if it's just winning based off of RNG, such as violent procs. This would help players improve their defenses and even improve their offense monsters. And overall, this would help so much in getting better at the game. And lastly, for PvE content, I think it would be fantastic if they added multiplayer PvE content. One thing we could compare this to would be raids. So maybe we could invite 2 to 3 friends and go into a very, very hard version of Trial of Ascension where we all had our monsters or we all picked certain monsters to enter in. This could add a lot of variety into the game, especially because sometimes we simply don't get the monsters we need. While another friend could potentially have that monster, we could have them bring that one, and then we would bring our own monster into the fight, and we could potentially work together towards a very hard stage and get really good rewards from it. Now, of course, these types of raids would be pretty tough, and it would have to go all the way up to a certain level where it would be even challenging for the pro players, but nonetheless, it would have some valuable rewards that we could all benefit from. Overall, I think CompTOS has a lot to add to the game. I think they're far from finished. I think the main thing that I want to see is less RNG. I would love to see less luck being a factor in the gameplay. It's enough already that we have to rely on luck from summons and from rune drops, but it's even worse that we have to rely on it from our own freaking monsters. But if you guys disagree with me, feel free to leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I think you guys should leave a comment on what you guys would like to see added to the game, or maybe things that you disagree with. If you guys have any ideas, make sure you leave in the comment section below. If you guys like these ideas, feel free to give it a like. Feel free to subscribe. I would love to see these pitched forward to CompTOS. So if any of you guys have contact with CompTOS, or if you guys want to pass this around, share it with your friends. It would be really great. I really want to get these ideas thrown out there. And if you guys have ideas of your own, make sure to comment down below. I will read every single one of them. And maybe in the future I will make a merged version and an improved version that I can send to CompTOS myself. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video, hope you enjoyed all the ideas. I'm really brainstorming here. I would love to see what you guys think as well, and as always, stay awesome.